All right, suited and booted. Welcome back. I'm your host, Jerome. To my left is...
Lord Mahazi.
To my right.
GD, Gavin Denise.
And today we are joined by a guest who is a childhood hero of mine, the most iconic A-League player on and off the pitch there ever was, there ever will be, in my opinion. Multiple record holder, Socceroos legend, the Mayor of Melbourne. Let's get a round of applause for Archie Thompson.
Thank
How you doing, Arch?
Yeah, great. Really good.
This is crazy for me. You know this is crazy for me, right? This is crazy for me.
Well, you didn't let on when I came in the room. You kept that really cool.
Nah, I gotta be cool, man. I gotta be cool. Gotta be going, oh shit.
What's your name? What's your name? Introduce yourself.
No, I brought it in for the hug. That was good.
I was like, I'm not hugging him because he shook. I don't know whose hand it was. It's like that. It's like it's Arch.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
It's
that was you. I'll give you a hug after we leave.
Professionalism. Before we start today, I need you to fix something for me, Arch.
Yes.
I've been waiting 14 years for this moment. Let me paint the picture. The year's 2010. Okay? Melbourne Victory have an open training session. Me and the boys, we were like, I don't know, 14, 15. Put our Victory stuff on. We go take the bus, take the train. We go down there. Got my Victory shirt, that one, I think. We're waiting to get signed. The players come around after training, and we're waiting for Arch. Now, I brought Archie's book. Right? I bought Archie's book. And I said, I'm going to get Archie to sign the book for me. First thing Archie says when he sees me is, fuck your tall brother. First of all, I said, wow, Archie thinks I'm tall and he called me brother. 2 ticks. Gave Archie the book. He signs away. Wow, I just got my book signed by Archie. It's sick, yes. I'm walking off to Jeremy. Enjoy the read, brother. And I thought either he's me. There it is right there on the camera. So, all I need you to do is just cross out the Y, Arch.
Okay.
Gav, can you please hand that to him? This is a monument. 14 years I've waited for this. Just cross out that Y there, Arch, and we're all good. Look at that.
Cross it out.
Thank you.
Man. Sorry, man. There must be a lot of kids I didn't...
Hey, man, I might have said my name wrong. You might not have heard me. I don't know.
Nah, I probably would have stuffed that up.
But I thought that was a nice little way to start because, no, seriously, this book, amazing. I had a reread before Archie came in just to sort of go over some stories because the amount of stories in this book, man, is... And you've probably got 10 times more. This was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
You know?
I can't, to be honest, I haven't read that.
You haven't read it?
No, I haven't read it. I don't know if I can actually bring myself around to reading that because I probably was probably saying things that were probably just wanted to be heard.
Yeah.
And so I probably, there's stories in it and it does a lot of those things happen. And, there were circumstances where I needed to find something a little bit more, but I probably held off. And maybe another book will come out with maybe everything
sure.
I needed.
Yeah,
man, as long as you got something out of it. I mean, not that I was lying, but I probably didn't delve into...
I think when you write a book, there's some things that you're going to need to not sugarcoat, but just maybe make a bit more cinematic. Just so the reader can really feel involved in the moment. And like you said, it was 14 years ago. Opinions change. You get told things and then your opinion might change on something. But regardless of that, amazing book. And,
But what do you mean? I've never read that book.
Yeah.
I've never read that book, which is weird. But
yeah, I got it. What year was that even?
2010.
2010 was it? Yeah. Well, I mean, it was through a time when I did my knee, so there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't thinking about to be fair, it was only just to make a quick buck.
Hey, man.
But
Thanks
I wasn't lying. But then I probably couldn't read it because if I and not that you should probably look back on your past and go, oh, no. But you evolve and you learn and you're a different person. So probably if I go back, I go, oh, man. I'll create, you kind of...
But you know what? Sometimes I look back on... this is a funny example, but like you look back on messages that you might have had, like conversations that you had, and you find them on your Facebook.
Some of the stuff
and it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and you're like, what the fuck? Why did I talk like that? Why did I say that? Why am I...
Well, that's like my Instagram. Yeah. Like, I've gone through my Instagram and deleted all these photos of me, like, like those really staged photos. Because first of all, my kids were taking a piss at me like that. What the fuck is that? You need to. And then when I look at it, I was like, man, I was actually probably looking for attention. I was looking to rub the ego, all at those photos. So I went straight through them and deleted them all because
I think if you haven't done that, you haven't lived. I feel like everyone in this room's done that.
Yeah, 100%.
Deleted old
or
photos.
even like messages, people that you used to message.
Yeah.
Or
Telling
you give
girls I love them. I despise you.
Gav's just had a clean out this morning. A new clean out.
do like an hour a day, just getting rid of them.
You're looking for an app that mass deletes.
But what about that photo, the iconic Archie Thompson photo with you? How old are you in that photo?
Year 8. Year 8. Yeah. See, I wouldn't delete any of that because that's that's fun.
Well, I think that's actually a good starting point. Thanks for that segue, Rash. I'm going to allude to a lot of stuff in the book, but not everything.
Yeah.
But there was a moment, and we were speaking about this a couple of weeks on the pod about when talented footballers in their youth, they reach a certain stage and they can go that way or they can go that way. And I just want to sort of get your take on what happened with you, because you obviously went to stardom, but it wasn't an easy road. It never is. Can you tell us what your teen years were like, and especially about the story of you working in the Chinese restaurant?
Yeah.
And what you saw on the TV?
Well, at school, I was probably never there, to be honest. Like, I was always wagging. Like, I just didn't like school. But then I got kicked out of school because of, things that I was doing that probably I shouldn't be doing. Yep. And it's so funny because probably only this year my school rang me up and said, "Oh, Arch, we'd love to get you to have a talk at the school." And I'm like, "Wow, it's funny because you kicked me out of the school and didn't want me to come back, even though you probably could have given me another opportunity or something." But I wasn't. I probably wasn't the best student. So that was probably my teen years of like just having fun, hanging out with mates, probably going to parties. Probably, like I said, not drinking, doing all those things that you're not meant to. Even at that age, because I had a taste of representative football, but it was just too much for me.
Were you identified? How old were you? Do you remember you being identified as a good player and a sort of standout player, and football started being serious like that?
Well, I guess when it's rep teams of like country New South Wales. I don't know if it was like that when you guys growing up. Country New South Wales, Victoria, and that's the state team.
But so early on, you were like identified, this guy's a good player, people know you, blah, blah, blah. Because obviously for me, it wasn't like that at all.
You failed your Vic trials.
Yeah, I failed it. So I'm wondering if you were identified quickly as like...
Well, to be fair, I probably didn't even know I was really any good. I just go and play football. And then you probably hear in my local... like the local league in Albury-Wodonga where I played, people would kind of say, this kid, not that I was aware of it, but my kids' parents would always say, man, like you were so good.
Oh, because that's right. You grew up country.
Yeah, country. So, and if anything, that was probably harder to really get anywhere being in the country than being in the city. So I probably made like a couple of rep teams in the area. And even when I think back, I probably felt like I wasn't the most talented. But I was just probably not aware of it that I was, and that other people saw it. And then I just slowly, started making rep teams, and that's how I kind of got identified. I mean, New South Wales, I was in country New South Wales because I couldn't make the Victorian squad. And that was my only way with a couple of other mates in the area that we could play rep football. And then when we did, you have a nationals, and then you get selected by the young Australian teams, Joeys. And so it would start you'd have like maybe I think 12, 13s and under 14s, and the first under 12s you got identified, and then some players were picked out of each state, and then they went and had a camp for a week at the institute. And that's like the Australian Joey's team, almost like kind of a prep ready for I think it was the under 16 World Cup or something like that. So they just kind of identify you, then you go back, you make another nationals, and then if you get selected again, you're in for another year. So you become closer to that national team. The last under 14s one, I think it was under 14s or under 15s, they were picking the side to actually be the Joey's team. And they actually gave the kids that were selected the chance to, like, say if they don't want to or they do. Oh, as you go into the thing. Yeah. And I said, no, I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to go.
Why?
Because I wasn't like really interested. I wanted to have fun with my friends. I wanted to and I don't even know why. Like I didn't stick. It was tough, but when I really, really think about it now, I mean, the only reason I really ever played football was to just make my dad happy and to make my dad proud. That's what I realise now. So, like, I love the game, but I didn't really love it. So if there was an opportunity, I would probably always go away from it because I'd prefer to have, do the fun things. And then, like I said, I'm only probably starting to realise it now. I did it because it was my connection with my dad and him kind of like being proud of that. And it was like, because I'm only starting to have a good relationship with my dad now because I bought a motorbike and he loves motorbikes. So, you just try to find little things because I see my kids, I like to believe that my son thinks that I'm his hero. My dad was my hero, even though I couldn't connect with him or he didn't, you're probably getting deep now, but that's the only way I could connect him. So now I've got a motorbike, so I'm connecting him now. So whenever, like I said, whenever there was something else on, football was kind of like, I can easily get rid of that because it's so. It was. I mean, I loved the game. Like I would, no doubt, I was kicking at the back for ages. I still loved it. Yeah. But like I said, if I had a chance, I would go away from it.
You know what? I could probably relate to that quite a bit with my dad and I. It's like not until I was older that I realised how much that was a thing. Like, you, especially now, you would know you get to an age there where, or as an adult, you start to not communicate too much with your parents and have too much to do with them, and it starts being hard to have connections and see eye to eye on things and stuff like that. And like I realised later on in my life that was my whole relationship with my dad. We didn't talk about anything else pretty much from. Yeah, probably from like 12 till he died, and it was like, it was weird to have that realization. I only had that realization probably 2 months ago. For you, did you feel like, why did you feel like that was, you were trying to impress him with that? Like, where do you think that came from?
Well, I feel like, I don't know. It's like, your dad, you just see him as being like someone that you just I don't know if it's just in you to immediately think this guy is like the one that's like God, And I think that's where I still see my dad like that now. I mean, even I think about me getting a motorbike, even though I love it, having a motorbike, being free out on the road, something insane. And my dad was he used to race motorbikes when he was younger, but he did like football. He loved football. So
the whole family played, didn't they?
Yeah, they all played. Yep. But my dad wasn't allowed to play football when he was younger. A big family, tough upbringing, and religious background that couldn't play. So in a way, he lived his sort of dream of football through me, and then I could see how much it meant to him. But then with the motorbike stuff, he didn't really let us, or it didn't really, I guess, introduce us to it because how dangerous it was. But man, as soon as I told him I only got my license 4 months ago, and I said, Dad, I'm going to get me motorbike license. I said, man, fucking like, oh, you got to get this, you got to get that. And I know nothing about that. Man, again, straight away, I like, you know, we're starting to again break down.
About.
Yeah, something to talk about. And I guess it's different for him too now, because maybe back then I was a bit younger. He couldn't probably communicate stuff. He's learning too. We all learn. But I feel like now there's little moments where like he'll open up about stuff, and I'm like, well, yes, that's what I wanted to hear, man. That's all I wanted to hear.
Like better late than never.
Yeah. And only like the other, and for me to even build up the courage to kind of have a conversation with him and say things that I wouldn't be able to say. And I actually said to my dad, because I had like 2 years of sobriety, from drinking and everything, and for me, like that was just an amazing achievement because of, you know, all the years of just chaos, and to do that was hard, and my dad came and celebrated the 2 year, drove all the way from Albury-Wodonga, and I told him, oh look, I'm having this, like it's you know, it's kind of big for me. You can come if you want, but you don't. My dad rocked up, and I just, it's about 3.5 hour drive. 4
You didn't know he was coming?
No, I just told him about it, but I don't have to come. And yeah, it's okay. But that's my dad though. My dad will just, I remember coming to a victory game, I probably told you, Rash, when I was driving to an important game at Amy Park, and then all of a sudden I'm like driving up and I go, fuck, is that my dad? Like, you know, but this is my dad, like, and this is why, like, I love him for this, is that like my mum's always like roll out the red carpet. She wants the whole treatment. But my dad will just come watch a game, sit up in the back and just sit there and not even have to say that that's my son, but be just super proud and just watch. I think that's my dad. So when he came and he saw that, and I was like, he experienced that sort of me going through my journey just recently. I actually had I didn't even really have the courage to say. I just wrote a text to him. I said, Dad, I hope I made you proud tonight, you know. And he was like, man, you've always made me proud, you know. And like, for me to hear that, like, it was just incredible. Sorry, I'm probably just going.
It's crazy how Archie goes on about with his relationship with his father. Same with you, Rash, and we all sort of have similar, you know, connections. And same with me, with football and my old man, that's all I can talk about with him, you know. If I was to go off topic, I kind of feel a bit strange about it. And to bring it up, it's like we've never talked about that. And the only thing we relate about well on is football. And that's the same. Like, I could go play wherever it is and my old man's going to follow me. And then even the other day, I was listening to an interview on Carlos Tevez, and he was talking about his retirement, right? And everyone was like, oh, you're still fit to play. Why don't you play this, that? And he goes, listen, the only person I was playing for was my father. When he passed away, I had no reason to play anymore. And that's why I retired. So it's crazy how footballers have certain connections with their fathers or their mothers, and that's their main drive to be playing football, you know? Or it's like even myself now, when I came back, being overseas for 10 years, the main reason was just so my father could watch me play. Because every game he's going to be there, you know?
He's at every single game. Doesn't matter where, rain, hail or shine, Kev is there.
Yeah.
He's there. Yeah. I'll see him.
And how crazy was that? Like, he's a big member of Springvale White Eagles. He always goes. That's like his local club. And I said, oh, today we're going to do the pod with Archie. And he goes, oh, yeah. Make sure you tell him when he was playing at Murray United. I got a photo with him after the game.
Murray United against Springvale White Eagles.
Murray United, yeah.
That's right. I forgot you went back there after as well. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, man. It's weird. I was actually going to ask you just then when you were talking about it, whether he ever actually said to you that, oh, yeah, you made me proud. Because it's probably so, like you're saying, it's for so many kids. It's like that unspoken thing that they're playing for their dad. Yeah. Or playing for a parent or an older brother or something like that, and they just want that one day that the person gets in the car and goes, like, I'm proud of you. Not necessarily like you're a good player or anything like that, but like respect kind of thing. Like, you're doing it, you know. Man.
Oh, it's massive, man. I say it to my kids all the time. I make it a conscious effort. I make a conscious effort to say to my kids, I'm proud of you. proud of you. I'm proud of everything that you're doing all the time. Doesn't matter about. I could just ring him like I could just be driving and just go. I ring my. I don't know if I told you. I'm proud of you, even though they've heard it 100 times.
This is something that I've come to be aware of with you, that you're very purposeful with your language.
Yeah,
you make a point to say stuff like that.
Well,
love you, like I miss you, like you make a point to say stuff like that. For me, it's still a little bit hard, especially like if it's with mates or something like that. I thought about it the other day. One of my best mates is like going through a bit of a rough period, and I sort of wanted to say that to him. I said it in not as many words, but I thought of you at that moment. I actually mentioned you. I said you should call Arch because he's a mutual friend. But in that moment, I was like, Archie in this moment would say, you know, what he's thinking.
Yeah,
it's interesting that you're purposeful with that.
I think it's important, man. Words have such a strong emotion and feeling behind them, and I always try to do it. Like I always try to. I don't get it right, and sometimes like it's hard. But I think for someone to hear it, it's so important. I mean, I was at the races, and I was going to keep this to myself because I don't want to sound like ego. But this guy was he was cleaning, like he was just cleaning the compound and where we were at, like. And man, no one's going to talk to him or say anything to him. I think it's just important that we make everyone feel valued, man. I think that's and I probably didn't even know, but until now, is it like why I try to connect with the fans and whatever, because it's about making people feel valued. And so he was a big Victory fan, and he came up to me and said, "Look, I couldn't get passes for the thing," and I said, "Look, man, I don't have that." But he said he got it last year anyway. But I came back the next day with a pair of signed boots, and I gave it to him. And I said, "Here you go, man. You take this." And he was freaking buzzing, like, you know what I mean? But
well, Arch, I'm sorry to cut you off here, but I've met a lot of footballers, and you were the one that stood out to me in terms of just that. Fuck, you're tall, brother. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no problem. That made my year. Yeah. But footballers don't understand that, and I know that they get bombarded and everything. But that's why I think, besides the fact that you're an incredible player, I think that's why us Victory fans adore you, because of how you were with the fans and how you are with people. You don't, at least from my perspective, I'm just meeting you today, but you don't seem like a normal footballer, and you know what normal footballers act like.
No, he's fucked.
You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I've been down that path, though. Like,
yeah.
I have been, like, I'm not like saint. Like, I've floated in and out of all that sort of shit.
But even just my experience and just my friends and other Victory fans I know, just 2 minutes for someone.
Yeah.
Time of day, you make their week or whatever it is, and you probably feel better about yourself as well. You probably felt great after seeing that guy.
It pulls you out of what you're going through, right? Like, I think what I learned now is, like, if I'm and I don't get it right, and I still sit in that shit, but I think what can I do? What can I do to will get me out of how I'm feeling? And usually it is just by helping someone or saying something or like, you know, that takes you out of that. And like I said, man, something for me big about making people being seen, like just being seen. That's important.
We spoke about it on the last pod, or one of our pods, I can't remember which one, but about like how now that it looks like there's teams that are not putting that much effort into the community stuff, into doing that kind of stuff. And like you're saying, I see it now being at my soccer academy. I see kids named Archie, or, you know, you see the effect that different players have had, or when we bring other players down for player visit or whatever, how the effect that it has, and the effect that how much it helps the club. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's important to win on the weekend, focus on your footy, but like also, like, what's the point? Like, it's so egotistical. What's the point of being the best footballer in the world but you don't inspire a kid?
Yeah.
Like, well, then what? You know?
Well, I think, like, even just another side note on that, my parents know nothing about football. I left the house today, I said, I got Archie on the pod. They said, what? No way! And I'm like, that's what I mean.
Yeah, right.
Because they've got absolutely zero idea, but they would know that, you know, before I used to drive and stuff, they'd take me to Victory games. blah, 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 blah. And it's little things like that. Rashid, kids are named after you.
But I wonder, I'm just thinking this at the top of my head now. I wonder how you just said, how you weren't the typical footballer. Did you feel like that?
Like a typical.
Did you feel like you fit in the football world comfortably? That's not a loaded question. I genuinely wonder.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think I adapted to it. Like, did I belong? Probably not. But I adapt. And I think I adapted to that whole kind of environment. And you can get caught up in it all too. You know, I got caught up in all this, you know, success our club was having, and, you know, the buzz around town, and, you know, having that kind of, like, people kind of see you as something. And but it's definitely changed now. Like and it's changed. It's been changing for a long time.
Because I asked that question because I never felt comfortable in that world. I never felt, one, I guess a bit different than probably you, but I never felt maybe good enough, which sort of like a imposter syndrome type thing. In terms of on the park, I felt that.
Oh, but I did too.
But yeah, right.
I did too, man. I every time I went out on the pitch, and I always would say, and sometimes, like, this is probably why I don't read back on that if they have it in the book, is like, I was like, oh man, me going out on the pitch is like, nothing in the world's wrong. Yeah. Or, you know, that like, oh, that's my sanctuary and all. Fucking, I was so scared going out like that because I didn't want to like make a mistake. I didn't want to like let people down. I didn't want to let my teammates down. Didn't want to let the fans down. Like, you know, I was in complete fear the whole time, and I didn't feel good enough. Yeah, like that's been pretty much.
Well, you never let us down, man. don't stress.
Well,
don't stress about it.
But that's I feel like we go through a lot of things in life. It's thinking that we're not good enough. Like that's a big thing for me. I mean, I'm in the like media now, and I rock up and I see some of the guys that have been in the industry for ages and the way they articulate things and all this sort of stuff. And immediately I think, fuck, man, I got kicked out of school year 10. I never went. I don't remember doing homework since grade 3. And, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then I'm like, and I'm watching these guys and I'm like, oh, man, I don't belong here. Like, I'm just not good enough or smart enough. But that's kind of I don't know where I picked that up. But I put something. I posted something the other on my Insta, not the one that was saying fuck, but I put one on Insta on LinkedIn, you know, one of these platforms, to say that like you know, I was having a real moment where I couldn't get the words right. There was a whole group of people just watching in. I had guys here, cameras and everything, and I'm like, I kept just fucking up the simplest line. I just couldn't get it right, like, you know. But then I just kept going, and my fear was telling me, you're fucking dumb, man. Everyone's judging you, you're dumb, man. You don't belong here. And I just sort of, like, this journey I'm on at the moment is like, I'm just sitting and I'm like, I'm fucking get this. I'm going to get this. And it might seem little, but it's those little wins, man, make a massive difference.
That's crazy, yeah.
Look, and I'm sure you've seen it too. A lot of people said, oh, I don't know if Archie suits being a pundit. He's not that articulate, man, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. But what people need to understand is that he's a personality. He brings something that you can't teach in schools, universities, stuff like that. So, yeah, okay, well done. You're a journalist. You got your broadcasting degree. You know, you're articulate. No, you're right. But I just always felt that you brought a personality, not just to the media, but to the A-League in general. You were the first player, for me, in the A-League that had swag. Like, we always look at like, we're proud to be Victory fans because Archie Thompson's cool. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, this is what I was going to lead to with my question. The second part that I was going to say was like, I didn't feel good enough, but I also felt like I grew up.
Sorry, man, I took that.
No, all good. But I grew up in a way that was, I didn't feel like, my life wasn't that hard. Like, my family's great and everything like that. But like most footballers, I feel like come from a certain type of family. They have a bit of money. Like they're a bit
here, at least
in Australia. I'm talking about in Australia, and I didn't really grow up in that way. And I grew up around kind of a bit rougher people, and so then when I went into that environment. It's very professional. It's very corporate. It's very proper. Everyone is everything has to be like perfect, you know? And I always felt like, and even now I hang around with people, I'm like, I'm not inside me. I don't feel like I'm like you. I feel like I've got a lot of strangeness inside me that I have to kind of curate to fit this room.
Well, you're wearing a suit on a podcast, so
Even Rash,
you know what I mean?
I hope you're not wearing that suit for me, man. I hate fucking being in one of those.
Rash,
suits.
even like what Archie was saying about sometimes how you're filming and you don't feel you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for me, I teach at schools now and then with coaching, and same with me. Like I never finished school.
Yeah.
I left school in year 8 and then went to Argentina. And when I'm there, sometimes I'm like, how are these kids listening to me? I don't even have a degree in anything.
Right? Yeah.
But then I go back to like, Archie has certain experiences in his life. You have certain experiences in your life. I have certain in mine, right? And I remember listening to this podcast about the Manchester United Academy compared to schools, right? Anyone can get a degree as a school teacher, right? But if you're, let's just say, the academy in Manchester United is Paul Scholes. The experience that Paul Scholes has and is going to teach young footballers in those academies is going to be so much higher than what a school teacher that's got their degree can teach you. Because he's played in front of 80,000. He's played Champions League finals. What he can teach you is so different. So then going back to like you being on TV, Arch, no matter if they've done their degrees in media or whatever, your experiences on and off the pitch are so much more stronger, or certain pressures that you put yourself in are so big. So you being in front of, you know, people watching you should be, or like deep down inside your head should be, you know?
Yeah.
And just
sorry.
and further to that is that I think that your imperfections is why like everyone feels like they know you a bit more than everyone else, and they connect to
say my name
you.
when he walked in. I was like, "What's up, Arch?" Expecting him to know me.
Yeah, people feel like, oh, I can relate to this guy. Like he's a human being. He's not just this perfect corporate person. That's not to say you're, not to say you're imperfect because you're the best, but yeah, you know what I mean.
I do,
Yeah.
man. And like, I think when you say like, and you know, we all had those experiences of like, you know, not feeling like we belong. I could just put on a mask and be that person everyone wanted me to be, you know.
I remember you doing it, knowing that there was stuff going on in your life, and seeing you look fine.
Yeah,
but
I could do that. I could do that. That's why I was like, but it made like something inside of me was because I would float in and out of it, you know. And I know now that like when I go there, it's work and it's people like, you know, mates or friendships or people like colleagues and that. I just think, far out, man. How did I cope in this world? Like, now that like I'm true to myself, it's like, man, I don't even know how I existed.
It's so interesting, bro, because like all the troubles and difficulties and the trials that you had in your life, it's like, sorry, I don't want to aggrandize you, but you know that Jesus died for all our sins. You know that's kind of statement, right? It's like you have all these difficulties, and because of that, and you have the skin to deal with it, still be like a star. That's why everyone is like, oh, I know him. Yeah. I love him. But you had to still go through all that, right? Yeah. Which is the hard side.
Yeah, I mean,
which is like
it's hard. I mean, I wake up every morning, I do a prayer, I do meditation, I do a gratitude list. And one of the ones I don't ever forget to put on my gratitude list is that to say I'm enough. Like, you know, just I'm enough. Like, I think for a long time probably didn't feel like enough. I think that maybe all these masks were getting too much, that I was losing myself. I didn't know what was real and what wasn't, who was real, or more importantly, I didn't know who I was. But then being out of that, now I can see, and I'm comfortable now. Like I'm comfortable. Like that whole experience when I was just kept fucking up that line. It was like, okay, man, I fuck up. I fuck up. Yep. I just fuck up, and you know. And
it's interesting you're saying you're 2 years sober, right? And I'm similar boat.
Yeah.
That's like you also are using substances to mask, and then you do lose who you are, because it's like, okay, if I go out and stupid example, but I want to talk to that girl over there. I'll have a few beers first.
Yes.
So then I become a different person. It's like, well, you don't know who you are because so much of your life is spent drinking.
Well, that's also
or
such a common thing
pretending
now,
to be something
you know?
else. And
Of people going, okay, I'm going to meet this guy. I'll have a few drinks beforehand just to loosen up and feel okay, which is actually wrong because then if you're going on a first-time date, you're not actually meeting the real person.
Yeah.
You're meeting like the tipsy one.
So on that, and sort of down a different avenue as well, with Archie inspiring people. And you've said this a few times. People always thought you're Indigenous.
Yeah. Well, I am Indigenous.
Well, yes, Australian Indigenous.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, how do I explain? Aboriginal, but people didn't know that you were half PNG, half Maori.
No, Kiwi. My dad's white.
Kiwi.
Yeah.
Okay. So half PNG, half Kiwi. On that, I feel like, did you know the impact you had on black and brown boys playing football in Australia? Because I feel like my friends as well, my African friends, my friends of colour, you're all their favourite player. I don't know if it's because of just the fact that you're a brown player or you're an incredible player, but was that hard for you coming up, especially in like country Victoria or country New South Wales, racism, stuff like that? Talk about that experience.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, I had racism when I was younger. Like, you know, it was before, it was brought into the light now with everything. Like, I'd always have someone, even when I was like a young kid, yelling out stuff like, kick that black fella and all this.
How old were you?
Oh, probably, man, I was young. Like, yeah, young. I don't even know. But my dad fired up. Like, he fired up about it. And but I felt that too because I was in Albury-Wodonga and there wasn't many dark-skinned people, and I remembered, and I feel like that. I'm working through stuff in that, and it's got nothing to do with my mum. But I used to hate when my mum came to school to pick me up.
Really?
I hope she doesn't watch it. She probably don't even know what podcasts are. Podcast? Was it a cup of tea? Is it a but I didn't want to come to school because I could feel that. I felt the difference.
You mean you felt like embarrassed of people seeing who your mum was?
Yeah, because of her skin.
Yeah.
And because I was already an outsider, because I was probably one of the only dark kids in my school. So I already felt like I was on the outside. So then I'm like, probably even back then I was thinking like, how can I try to be part of everyone else? Like, and a big part of that was maybe if everyone likes me. I'll do everything to make everyone like me, and then I can slot into whatever. But then as soon as my mum would come into, I was like, oh my God, no. Because she's like this little PNG, and she's
loud.
She's black. She black.
She's also loud.
Yeah, really loud. And she didn't like, she probably felt uncomfortable coming to like a country where she was from a little island up in Papua New Guinea where my dad took her out of that hard life that she was in and came to like white. Yeah. It's like just white. Yeah. And like maybe I took a lot of that trauma on from her, passed down because, just trying to fit in and not feeling like comfortable, making everyone like me so I can fit in. So I felt like I felt that early on. And then, things will get said, during football or whatever. And
so did you experience it in NSL or in Europe?
Yeah, Europe. Got a few monkey noises.
In Belgium?
Belgium's there, like full on. Yeah, I think. But I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird place, Belgium. Like it's almost like they don't even know they're being racist. It's like
that's a lot of the European.
I don't think they know the impact of it. No, they don't. Actually,
how did it affect you when you were older? Like you said, it affected you when you were younger. And you felt it.
I still feel it. Like I still feel this uncomfortable, like a little bit uncomfortableness about it. But I don't know. I try not to focus on that energy too much. But
why were you in the country? Why were you in country Victoria?
My
How
dad,
did that?
through work. Just
Okay.
working.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
we were like Lithgow.
know.
Lithgow in the Blue Mountains, man. You don't get bigger redneck than that, man. Nah, I wouldn't say they're probably redneck, but it's very, very, very tough.
Of course, playing country football at a young age, maybe being the dark boy in country football, made your skin tougher, especially because I feel like any country version of sport seems to be just rough.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it was tough. Like it was a rough and tough sort of. Because they breed them tough in the country. You know,
of course.
And like even when I was playing with football, coming through the the senior level in the country, man, they didn't care. Like,
is this at Gippsland?
No, in Bathurst,
Bathurst, yeah.
More Bathurst. And mate, that's like a rugby culture in New South Wales. Mate, I was like a 15-year-old, and these like bloody proper men, man, lumberjacks. Yeah. And I mean, they didn't care. Like, you know, they will snap you. They will snap you.
So let's start trying to be chronological with the football career of Arch, because there's so many moving pieces and parts, and like I said, we could go for ages. But
I've got to get me one of these.
Let's sort of go to the NSL days. What was the money like back then? I was always curious. Is it anything like it is now? Because
NSL?
now, yeah.
As in like the A-League?
No, as in like
the
Carlton, when you're at Carlton and stuff like that.
Compared to the NPL.
Compared to the NPL now.
Yeah.
I don't know what people are getting on here in the NPL, but I know that was some decent money going around. Like
even in your day,
in
your day,
I wasn't getting it.
You weren't on decent money,
but I knew some players that were on 150, 200 grand.
Because I'm at
and that was like, and there could have been players even more. You know, and they're probably only training 3 times. I'm
with Stuart at the school now, and
Stuart,
he's one of his earliest coaches.
Yeah.
And was Carlton the first full time team? Was that Carlton went full time?
Man, that's good. Yes, it probably was. It was probably one of them. Like even I think South Melbourne was kind of a little bit too. I think Carlton was the first one to.
So you were full time at NSL at that time?
Well, I was. When you say full time, I didn't have any other job.
Yeah,
and football was my job. So that,
Yeah, okay.
But in terms of full time, as in like what we were training like every day. No, it was like probably 3 times a week.
Okay,
something like that.
So, killing it in the NSL, then Belgium comes calling.
Yeah.
Just speak a little bit on what it was like arriving there, the fan culture, the weather, because there's photos of you in beanies and gloves and hoodies. And
unbelievable.
Going from Albury, Wodonga, country Victoria, or even just Australia in general, to that. How was that experience?
Man, that was just cold, bro. Like, I mean, you know, growing up in Bathurst and Lithgow, it was cold. Like, nothing like that. But I remember when I first went over to Europe, I went to Anderlecht. So and they were like a big club in
biggest club,
biggest club in Belgium, but they were also always making Champions League. Sometimes they'd get out of the group. They had good players that were playing with them. I think Company was there. I think Company was with the youth team when I was there.
Wow.
So I went there for a trial, and I trained with the youth and I trained with the seniors, and they were meant to have a game against Ajax's youth team, and I think there was no game that was going to be played. Then all of a sudden they said, "Hey, you got a game." But about the night before, or my maybe even the night before that, my sister and her boyfriend at the time, were living in London. So I hadn't seen him for ages, so they flew over to Belgium, and because there was no game being played, so we went out, and I got so got hammered. And I ate snails for the first time in Brussels, and they were honking, man. They didn't turn good, and I was blaming the snails, but man, they were pouring Bacardis like this. In Europe, they're nuts with how much they pour, man. Like they poured this, and it was like that. And I was too sick for that, the game. I made up I had food poisoning. But I did have food poisoning. Sorry, John Gamord, if you're listening. I think I told him I had food poisoning.
Yeah, he's a big fan of ours.
Yeah. But then I came back, played Confederations Cup with the Australian team, and they liked me so much under like this that they flew me straight back after to that game. But man, I had another big night because it was our last game in the Confederation Cup. That was in South Korea. I think we came third. And we beat Brazil. So we had a big night. Yeah, and then they didn't have, that was not their full Brazilian team.
Yeah,
and then I pretty much from there flew to Belgium, straight off the plane to play a game. And I was honking. Like I was, but I think shattered. Yeah, but I think it was Vincent Kompany was in that team. They just won the youth title from playing other clubs. So I when I think back on some of the times that I've kind of let things slip away, the whole story could have been completely different. But anyway, I got signed by another club that saw me there. So that's kind of Lisa, yeah, Lisa. And there was an Aussie guy that actually played there, Joe Spiteri, a few years before that actually won the league with them. So he's quite a big player back then. So. That's how I started, mate. Unbelievable, cold, lot tougher, and that being overseas, how hard it is. Like they, mate, they are just another level of.
I'm nodding my head like I know.
Crazy.
Obviously, you can. So, how long were you there for?
4 years.
4 years, and then
Fuck, I didn't realise that, bro. 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
Oh wow!
And they actually wanted me to. Sign again, stay for longer, but that's when NSL were calling. NSL A-League. My ex-wife was pregnant with our second kid.
Yep.
So, everyone thinks that being overseas, it's amazing and playing good football in good football stadiums. We didn't get paid sometimes for up to 2 to 3 months.
Really?
Yeah.
In the first division.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially when this club was had money, then wouldn't have money, then it would have money, and then there was a Chinese guy that was coming in to try and buy the club, and but then later on he was mafia. It was just all crazy. And man, we couldn't even afford to buy nappies at one stage. We had to call back and get money sent over. It was from Australia. Ask for help.
It's crazy how so many behind-the-scenes stories happen that never get released, Even myself, when I was in Portugal, I went 4 months without pay.
Oh, man.
And then people see you're living the dream, you're playing football in Europe, this, that. And there's so much stuff behind the scenes that never gets seen or never gets told that, it's not the real deal.
And that's Belgium as well. Yeah. That's surely is one of the better...
It's a top 10 league in Europe, I reckon.
One of the better countries for that kind of stuff.
I think a lot of stuff was just going on, money-wise with the club, ownerships, and it was just so messy, and it was such a stress. How can you live, and try to perform when that's going on when you're miles away from home?
And the crazy thing is, I don't know if you had this, Arch, but when you're in those situations, the club's like, okay, if you don't want to play, well, I'll just play the youngster. Oh, yeah. And he's not on as much, so it's all good, you know what I mean? And they kind of use their power of the club against you.
Yeah, they would. I mean, that just sounds like hell.
Did you have a period that was a good period? Or any of it, which was...
I had, most of my time... Most of my time was good there, football-wise. There was probably 1 year that... it almost really actually broke me, to be honest. When I think about it, it wasn't that good. But I was a new coach had come in, and he was very much he was a cockhead. To be honest. He was a dick. Like, you know, he just wasn't a nice human being, man.
Yep.
Like, you know, I mean, you can be tough, you can be whatever. But if you're not fucking kind, man, well, like, you know, and he was just not that at all, man. Like, I know that there's you're judged and you're judged on your results and you've got to perform. But he was just not a good person. And then anyway, we played a game. Like, I got injured. The team started like playing really well, and we were sitting second, sort of like around sort of Christmas time, which was a good period. So we were doing really well. I had my knee. I was trying to come back from it. He was really pushing me to get through it, and I was fucking hurting. But they just said, "Oh, you just got to keep grinding." So I grinded it, came back. We played a team that was sort of around our where we were, and I started. I hadn't played too much football and didn't have the greatest games. But you know, my kind of way of thinking is like, okay, well, it's happened. What can we do about it? I mean, it hurts a little bit. It's got to. I mean, if it means something to you. But the next day, I'm that person who'll come in and be happy. You know me. I'll come in and try to just see the good in everything. Yeah. And one morning, straight after that game, Martin Lawrence was having a stand up on the thing, and I was laughing, and he saw it. He saw me laughing at this thing
in the change rooms.
Like, no, we had in our training facilities, we had like recliners that you could just watch TV. Okay. So I was just laughing because it was, you know, what can we do? What can we do? The fucking game was yesterday. Like, can't do anything now. He saw it, man.
That's so funny.
He saw it, and man, he hated me after that. Like, he like, because this was around Christmas, so we were just coming into that winter stage where you take 2 weeks off and you train. Yep. He pretty much after that day said, "You can find another club. You're not welcome here."
Can't the fucking go watch Bad Boys?
Yeah, man, it was fun. Pretty much said, "No, like I don't like when we come back. You're not even coming on winter stage they call it, but like away, you have to find another team because you're not going to be playing here again." Just from me laughing, and I was like, "Whoa!" And it didn't matter what I did. Like he didn't. And I couldn't find a club. It was tough. I did go to Denmark. There was a club that was really close to signing, Aalborg, I think it was, and but they already had too many foreigners. And then I came back and I just couldn't. So I had to sort of. But he goes, "Well, he's not training with us." So he put me trained with the under 12s, I think it was.
Sorry.
Yeah, man.
Not 23s, 12s.
Under 12s.
Monday, you're lying, bro.
No, man. Under 12s.
You as a...
I'm sorry. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
But this is what they try to do. They fucking try to, like, you know. I was playing seconds, but then even the seconds coach felt sorry for me. He goes, "Man, look, you can't train with us anymore."
How old were you at this time?
Man, I was 25, 20.
Bro.
But there's so many worse stories. Like Michael Thwaite is another player that just got, man, like icy pitches in Poland or wherever he was, where he was by himself. But this was like, I was training with under 13s, under 12s, under 13s, man, on a Wednesday night or Monday. And it was,
bro, I've heard
frozen and like nothing. There was nothing I can do. I just
imagine him smashing shots at the under 12 keeper. Let's go do keeper training.
Like, you know, it was maybe I exaggerated a little bit. Maybe it was under 15s. Like, you know.
Arch, anything that's not 23s is crazy to me.
Yeah, bro.
Like,
I've heard of training by yourself. I've heard of, you know, session. You're only in the gym. I've never heard of training with like the 13s, 14s. Like, I've never heard of that before.
He was just trying to, like, you know, they try to break you. Like, man,
and also just for luck. And this is the other thing, bro. You get the players that pretend to be upset. It's Monday. It's Monday. Like, move on. We're looking forward to the game ahead, and they pretend to impress the coach that they're still angry and that. Yeah. Whereas you're like trying to get the atmosphere up and going.
Yeah. And then, but the funny thing was that in the window, they actually got rid of two of their great players that were doing well, like strikers. I don't remember if you know Aruna Kone.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, Aruna Kone was at PSV.
Wigan?
Yeah, Wigan, PSV.
Yep.
He was in my team in Belgium.
Wow.
And he came over with another African player, Adolf Tahua, his name was. Funniest dude, man.
He just sounds funny, bro.
Yeah,
What's the name again?
Adolf Tahua. So,
Interesting first name.
mate, couldn't speak any English, but I just, like, we laughed.
Yeah.
Do you know that that universal laugh? Like, I know what he was saying is funny, and I just laughed at it. And he'd always kind of try to, because I would pick him up and drop him off at trainings and stuff. But he actually, I know I've gone off track here, but Aruna Kone came with him as a deal. It was they said the Adolf was the better player, and he was Adolf, but he wasn't. He was, but then he just didn't adapt.
Yeah, right.
Couldn't adapt. Aruna adapted and started scoring goals, man. He went on to like PSV, Ajax. We're gonna he was only the tag along.
And he couldn't adapt. Why?
Oh,
Culture off the field.
Culture, the weather. Just maybe missing home.
Yep.
You know, just
Yep.
like it was hard for him.
Yeah.
Because I think Ivory Coast came from Cote d'Ivoire, man. Like proper.
That's a big difference.
Big, like, you know.
Yeah.
And then but then those players got signed on, moved on, and so he didn't have any strikers. And so he said, like, we need you, come back. We need you. And this might have been, I can't even remember if it was my second or third year. This might have been happening in my third year, because the second year he came, and might have been the third year they I can't remember. All I know that the Lisa was struggling, like they were relegation. He needed me, came back in. Mate, I hated it. I hated being back in there. Yeah. You know why I hated back in there? Because every time he walked in the room, I stopped. I had to.
You couldn't be yourself.
I couldn't be myself. I mean, I was happy to be back with a group and playing, like, not training, but I couldn't be myself. So I hated it. I hated what he made me feel like, man. He made me feel like...
His name started... I remember...
Emilio Ferreira.
F. I was going to say start with F. If you're watching this, unsubscribe.
Oh, mate. Who knows? Maybe hopefully he's turned turn a leaf. But anyway, I came back in. I helped the team score some vital goals. Scored some vital goals to keep us safe.
So you guys were safe?
We were safe. You know, it's funny how football can turn like that. But I shouldn't say hate. And, you know, who knows? That's probably the way... Yeah, at that time, I didn't like the person he was and how he made me feel.
Yeah.
But you know, even when I went to PSV before preparation for the World Cup, he was telling Belgium newspapers and magazines, what's he doing there? Like, how did he get there? I'm like, man,
what?
This is what I don't understand. Like,
that was under Gus at PSV, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Gus is a 20 times better coach. Brings me there, like, and he's still going like, man.
Gus is, as a Chelsea fan and as a Socceroos, you know, I love the Gus is God.
Yeah, man.
And you're trying to say that he's wrong for going there, but so Belgium ends. You have your good times, you have your bad times. What were your thoughts when you first heard about the A-League and Melbourne Victory starting and they want Archie Thompson to lead the line?
Oh, man. Like leaving the old NSL, and I'd heard, like, because they had a year where they... I think a couple of years where they just didn't play anything. Stop. Yeah. And I was thinking, oh man, this might be hard because I had a good year. I scored, like, I was probably one of the leading goal scorers. I was at my club, I think, and even in Belgium, one of the top scorers in Belgium. And then they called, and I was like, tough. But I had my daughter over in Belgium. I could see, you know, the times that we would come back home for 4 weeks, she'd just get used to family, and then we'd have to go again and not see him for months. That was hard, like that. And I think that made that decision a little bit easier because I wasn't thinking more on the football side of things. I was thinking more family and my second child. There was a lot of, you know, I just was not feeling great about it. But man, I tell you what, it's probably the best decision I made in my life. I did that. Yeah, I did. And man, ego, I was such a shit, I reckon, those first couple of years, man. Like, I would leave training halfway through a training session like, because it was just shit. Like, I you know,
I was going to say, so you were used to such a high level that at Victory you thought, I'm not fucking doing this.
Yeah, but a little bit, like, I would say ego, but then I would say too, I'm not getting tested here. I want to come. I'm that person. I come to train. I fucking work hard. Yep. Like, you know, I mean, I try to work hard on the pitch. That's like, I love that. I love working hard on the pitch. I wasn't getting that when I first came here. And I remember, I'm sure everyone knows this story, but I remember when we were doing shooting practice and I saw the shooting practice. I can't remember. I think it was Aaron Healy or Gary Cole were doing it. And I was like, man, this was just under the Westgate on Todd Road. And I left halfway through. And, you know, no one could really say anything. I felt like this big fish in this small pond.
Yeah.
Like, that's this ego that I had. And I went in there and I was on my phone on the thing. Mid-trade, Aaron Healy comes on, Arch, what are you doing? And I'm like, looking at my phone. And he just couldn't say anything to me, poor bug. I felt sorry for him. I was, you know, I was just an arsehole. But then because I had a Subaru WRX, big exhaust, all the players said all they could hear was this big exhaust going back over the Westgate. I fucking left home. I left train halfway, went home. But that was kind of the first year for me. I was really finding it hard to settle in that kind of environment where it wasn't really properly professional. But then the second year came around, it was better.
So I was going to say the second year it turned for you.
Yeah,
where you thought, okay, this is getting serious.
Yeah, I need this.
Well, what changed in the club? In the club?
I think they brought a couple of better players in, a bit more experienced players in. That first year was a lot of young players. So they brought some of that in. And I think because we were leading halfway through the season that first year. Man, it was fucking hype was unbelievable.
Yep.
And then we just dropped. And then so we kind of like had that taste of that. And then was like, well, come on, man. Like we've got something special going on here. Let's really give it a good shake. And we did. That's when it, like we weren't we just were so I think a bit disciplined in certain times when we needed to be, and that's kind of what happened. Turn it around.
So I do want to revisit Victory. And look, guys, we could have 10 podcasts with Archie, really. And although there are certain moments that we'd love to speak about, like the American Samoa goals, the A-League titles, I feel like everyone's spoken on them.
Yes.
So I've tried to bring up little different things here and there. Let's just rewind to 2006 World Cup. Is that your first World Cup?
Yes.
First World Cup, because you started in the first leg against Uruguay.
Yeah.
And then you didn't play in the second leg, didn't you?
No.
You didn't play, but you said you celebrated the hardest off the bench.
Oh, mate, yeah. Man, in 35 years, Australia hadn't qualified.
I know.
Man, it was like unbelievable. And, I genuinely, if we had gone, I genuinely felt like, okay, man, I'm going to the World Cup. Because I started the first one. I couldn't get a bloody look in with the Socceroos before that with Frank Farina and all these other all these players. That was almost like it was all names that just were getting picked. It didn't matter if you're performing or not. You just couldn't get in.
So there's like a few questions here with the Socceroos. The first one is just great point there. You played in the best Socceroos era there's ever been in my eyes. You know, I'm nearly 30, so I know there were some great older players, but that was a golden era. We all know it was a golden era. And hopefully there can be a level that surpasses that. Up top, you had to deal with Mark Viduka, John Aloisi, Timmy, Kuehl. I know he was on the wing, but he was still in attack. You had to deal with all those players. What was going through your head thinking, am I going to get a start here?
Oh, fucking hell. Brett Edmonton was another
Brett,
player.
yep.
Bresciano was another, man, that was, and sometimes I think, well, man, if I was maybe born in a different sort of year, would I have a bit more of an opportunity at the Socceroo level? I mean, I still played, over 50 games, but I just wondered if it wasn't more of that impact player where I could actually just start games and give it a real go. But man, when you got those players, it's just so.
Did you accept that? Look, they're the big boys, they're prem strikers, or were you thinking, fuck them, I'm going to do you know what? Who knows?
Nah, man, I accepted it.
You just accepted it.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You weren't thinking, oh, I should be playing like this is.
Nah, it was just that. Even the coaches, like they were great players. Like they were good players.
Incredible.
Like just a different Tim Cahill, man, like same height as me, jumps like a fuck. I don't know what jumps good.
Fish out of water.
what animal jumps good, man? He fucking jumps.
He was the best header of the ball I've seen. I think.
Strong, strong. They were all strong boys. So I wasn't a strong boy. Like man. I probably they were just different.
From your perspective, having played through like a couple generations there, 3 maybe almost.
Yeah.
What is what do you see differently about why those players were like that compared to what we have now, or like my generation or the one coming up? Because it's a big difference. I feel.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I don't know. Maybe it's where they were playing at the time, like playing Premier League every year, every week.
Yep.
And they're just we're just used to that.
Obviously those things, but why were they able to get to that level as well? From knowing them personally, from maybe knowing a bit of their stories as well.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Probably I haven't even asked them. I don't know. I don't know their journey. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I probably don't know their journey. I know that some of them came through the AIS, and then they went pretty much straight over to Europe. Maybe I think some played World Cup Joeys and then went over like at a young age because they got seen, and maybe that's the path. I don't know why.
Might have just been a different animal back then. I don't know if these days it's getting softer, like what the kids have to do and all that.
I don't know. What's your take? What do you reckon?
The answer that I have been given by a person was in and around those groups, and then also in and around our groups and our generation, is that for those guys, when they went overseas, there was nothing really to come back for. So they were forced to grind.
Yeah.
And then develop these big personalities around the technical abilities that they had.
Yeah.
Whereas we have something to come back for, so kids go over there and then they come back after a year or 2 years.
That's 100% right. Like that. That's what it is. Like you have to fight because not ridiculous money here. You couldn't probably and the dream was always when you were growing up is to go to Europe and play in the Premier League or play.
I just think people, and like Archie's just said, and like Gavin's experienced, it's not always as glamorous as people think in Europe. But speaking of Mr. Tim Cahill, are you able to talk about what happened after the game against Japan in the World Cup?
Japan? Oh, when
someone was locked out of a hotel room or something.
Yeah, we
What happened?
Oh
there?
man, because we were so pumped up from the game, like all the adrenaline was like, you know. So we were. I don't even know how I got roped into it. We were playing Hearts on the computer. Man, Hearts on the computer. Like,
what the fuck,
man, we're at a
bro?
fucking World Cup and we were playing Hearts, and it was buffering because of I don't think there was even internet we could fucking. But we were playing Hearts. I don't know for whatever reason we'd taken some sleeping pills just to kind of relax and then go to bed. But you know, if you kind of pass a certain limit on that. You get a bit crazy. You get a bit loopy. You get a bit loopy. So we waited until we got a bit loopy, but then I don't know who I didn't even understand the game Hearts. I didn't even know. Yeah. But they said whoever loses has to run around the building. Is this what you're talking about? Yeah. Run around the compound naked. And I didn't even know the rules of Hearts, so I could have won and they wouldn't even know. Like so they said, Arch, you have to run around. I'm like, fuck it, all right. So I fucking run around, and then I got to the front door. They fucking locked it. The dog, him and Luke Wilkshire. So they locked it, and then they were up the top, and they threw down a teddy bear, and just to fucking cover. This big German came around and. Like, oh man, what the fuck? Let me in. And then we kept playing. And then I woke up in the morning. I had all, like they drew on with permanent marker, like dicks all over my face.
Tim Cahill did this.
Oh, I don't know who it was. One of those.
Someone, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was one of those guys, man. It was,
These are the heroes of our nation. This is what they were doing.
Oh man, it was
That's awesome, though. That's
it's,
awesome.
I mean, just like
And just young boys, man, just
it's
freaking.
fun. Harmless.
Yeah, and mate, we're in our own compound. Like there was no one around.
Yeah.
Like we're just having fun, man. You know.
So Tim Cahill and Luke Wilkshire.
Yeah, well, yeah, we always have our little cliques and that. Like I'm still really close with Luke because I work with him, but Tim's probably on a different level now.
Who was your sort of? I know every sort of national team and sometimes clubs have cliques. Who were your main mates in the Socceroos camp?
Oh man, I kind of got along with everyone. I'll probably say Jason Colino was probably one.
Was he? I heard that.
Oh, what a player, man! I forgot about him.
Bro,
Far
he
out.
was so good, man.
Was he like a neat freak or something?
Oh, it was very like.
I read that. Like
Yeah,
he was like
very neat on the field.
Yeah, oh man, like people always would say like, oh, but he never like. I still reckon he's had the best passing, the greatest like good touch, work, man. He was so good, man.
He was good,
really good. And so we would always room together at. And he was at PSV when I was at PSV.
Oh,
too.
okay. Yep.
So so we just formed this unbelievable relationship. So every time that we're in Socceroo camps, we were together. And then when he wasn't in there, then me and Robbie Cruz would be together.
Robbie Cruz?
Yeah, he was another one. With Jace, he was... we were so different, man. I'd walk around naked and just fucking lay around and throw shit. Things would be always folded in shoes. I'm like, man. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. He must have just felt comfortable. That all of a sudden he was doing that. He was walking around like he didn't care. And still things were neat, but he was naked and all this sort of shit. But he was probably one of my closest ones to be around.
So we'll go back to Victory. I want to there's another Victory story I want to ask you about.
And my memory's not good, man.
Hey, you're doing great.
I sometimes...
You're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Someone that might tell that story might go, what the fuck?
That never happened.
I wasn't even there.
He really did train with the under 23.
Yeah.
It was 23, but he thought it was 1, 3, 2, 3, 13, 23, same shit. Do you guys have any stories that involve both of you at Victory that you would like to share? I'm sure there's some that we can't, but were there any that stick out between you and Rash? Any funny interactions?
Oh, I'm probably thinking the sock one was, but you've already told that story.
Yeah, well, no one knows that it's you though. No one knows that it's you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You can.
well, yeah. I mean, we've had heaps of cool little stories, man. But that was one, like in Korea for Champions League football. Like we decided to go for a walk, and man, my bowels and like. I need to know where toilets are, man.
I'm the same.
I go to like fight or flight, man. Like I'm serious. I could tell you every single public toilet in Melbourne, without a doubt, easily, man. Because I get this panic, even though if I've gone. I still like. I'm talking number 2, not 1.
Yeah, 2. The real business.
Oh man, I sweat. Like I still panic now about it. Probably I'm calm. I'm a little bit calmer now.
Yeah. To be fair, one of the first things you said to me when you got here was like, "Where's the toilet?"
Yeah. He already knew.
So I know that yours is just down. Take a left out here, and it's probably about 10 or right. Yeah,
that's it.
but so I'd always panic about it. So we went for a walk. And immediately my body just goes into this thing. I'm like, oh, God, man, we need to find a toilet. And we came across this toilet. It was dark too, wasn't it? It was dark. I was like, I'm going in here. And then I think I might have had my pants up or whatever. But Rash it was like I came out and I fucking only had one sock on. And he goes through, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, man, there was no toilet paper. And so I had to use me. Yeah, any other person would have just taken both socks off and thrown it, but I just kept one because I thought it was a funny one.
If I keep one, no one will notice.
I never thought about that. That's funny that he kept one.
Yeah, I didn't even know why I kept one. But
that's so funny. There was another one. I don't know. Again, if you don't remember, that's fine. But you had a pre-season game in Tamworth with the Brazilians, and apparently they said something to the waitress
Yeah.
The air hostess.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
No. Which Brazilians?
It would have been Fred and...
Oh, who said that? Who's?
Oh, well, I read it in your book. It was...
Oh, God, this book.
Oh, God, the
I knew it
book.
was going to come back around.
Oh, God, the book.
What did they...
So basically what had happened was you guys were taking a plane to Tamworth. Like, it must have been just like a charter or something. And the air
I
hostess...
tell you what, a lot of the Asian Cup flights.
Yeah, I was going to say that story. Can you tell that story?
No,
Come on, man.
You know, I can't really remember it. But it used to
I don't
always
know how
happen.
much I can say of it, but all right, basically...
Just keep it PG.
Yeah.
All right, so we get... I can't remember where we were coming from. It was somewhere in Asia. And we were all... Obviously, it was like... a lot of the time you get these red-eye flights, right? So most of the boys take the sleeping tablets and whatever. So we get on the flight, sit down. Arch was behind my seat, directly behind my seat. and so I'm sitting... I sit there, take my tablet, whatever, and I go to sleep. I literally sleep the whole flight, wake up at the other end. I wake up and I've got crumbs all over me. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I turn to, I think it was Trimmers next to me. I go, Trimmers, what's going on? And he goes, what, you don't remember? Oh, no. Archie was standing over you eating biscuits. And dropping them all over you. And apparently I've gone, Arch, go sit down. And then he's gone and sat down. But yeah, apparently he was just walking around the whole flight pestering people.
Oh, yeah, man. I was...
Once the seatbelt sign was off, you were gone.
Oh, well, I don't know if you were on that one when Jason had his headphones. Do you remember that? When I had to give him my headphones? I don't know if you were on that. Like, he was sitting next to me. And... Oh, shit. Oh, man, yeah. Poor Jason. You remember? Yeah, again, it was like, because you try to sleep on... It might have even been that flight,
I think it's the same flight,
Yeah, it would have been that same
I think
flight.
it's the same flight.
I was on this flight.
It was the flight from
It's
Hell.
almost like, not to that extreme, but Wolf of Wall Street, when he catches a plane and all of a sudden he wakes up and goes, it was always the kind of my experiences of going over. And then I woke up and I was just jammed my tray table. My tray table would just not go. I was going bang, bang, and Jason Guerrier was next to me and even Nathan Coe. I'm like, man, this thing's not working. And then when I kind of lifted it up and he had his beats, like they were, back then they were expensive.
That was the thing, yeah.
But they were like bent in the middle. And I said, Jace, man, sorry. but if you were there, it was so fun. And I gave him I think I gave him my beats.
What was his reaction? Because he seems like a calm guy.
He is, man. He's too calm.
I think he was.
He's too calm.
I think he's pretty chilled about that. That was so funny, man. The way that I just kind of go, oh, man.
Oh, shit.
Because I was still not with it when I was banging.
Check if they still work.
Oh, far out, man.
Can you just picture in your head him walking around the flight doing all this shit?
You know what's funny? I can.
Yeah.
I can picture him doing
That's
that.
that's why it's so fun, man. That's why it's so fun. Oh,
Like,
my
where are
God,
the coaches, are they at the front thinking, what are coaches saying when you guys are on flights or
I think
buses
actually
or whatever?
that flight, they had gone back early, remember, on a different flight.
Yes.
And
Yes,
so
we
we
had
were on
two
a different flight.
flights. Yeah.
We were on a different
Oh, so you
flight.
would have just done
So we were left to our
Jumping
devices.
over- yeah, I think I was even jumping over seats or something too. Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was silly.
This pilot would have been...
Oh, man. It was fun. So what was that Brazilian one? I don't
Well, the
know.
Brazilian one was basically I think it might have been Fred and maybe was it Alessandro?
Yeah, there's
Brazilian?
Alessandro, yeah.
So he was on a flight and then the air hostess comes around and she says something and they say sim bom,
Oh, my
which
God.
in Portuguese means,
Yes, good or something.
yeah, something like that. And she goes, oh my God, they've said they've got a bomb. So
Are you serious?
What?
yeah, so the plane was held up. and you guys were and apparently you were pissing yourself.
What?
Because they thought that he said, "I've got a bomb."
And he just wanted a latte.
Yeah, or something, whatever. Yeah.
I don't
See,
know.
good.
I think I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Like, imagine that.
Far out,
To
man.
Tamworth, of all places. Country New South Wales.
Yeah, I can't remember that.
Like I said, man, there's so many times at Victory that I feel like in the future it'd be an honour to have you back on to revisit some more stories.
Yeah.
But
There's so many.
what else did I have on here? I had a few. Let's quickly talk about how long do we have left, by the way? Not long, eh?
I got 13 minutes.
Okay. All right, we'll touch on this last topic and then we'll do the quick fire questions.
Sweet.
So, you're a Victory legend. You're an A-League legend. And at the end of your Victory career, things were going tough for you. I don't want to speak too much on the negatives because I feel like people know, and you've said things, there have been articles and all of that. I want to know what things you did or what people helped you get out of that rut of, okay, I'm finishing with professional football. My life's not going so great. What did you turn to that really helped you navigate those tough times?
Oh man, I can't really. I was lucky. Like, to be honest, I was really fortunate because I had the career that I had and kind of the personality that I was. I went into TV, so and I was an ambassador. So money kind of wasn't like a problem, even though I wasn't looking after that properly.
Yep.
But there was just a lot of things going on. I can't remember. I remember me and Rash having a lot of conversations even during that whole.
He wrote you a letter, didn't he?
Oh, that was fucking beautiful. That letter he wrote, man. Yeah, that was amazing. Like, fuck, man. That
Was that when you were decided that you were finished with Victory?
yeah.
Well
Incredible.
done. You're a nice one.
Yeah, it was beautiful, man. It was really special for me.
Yeah.
And even I think it was Jason wrote a beautiful text too, man. Like, that was beautiful, man. Like, that was really, really. I still have the letter. I still have.
Oh,
the
that's
letter.
awesome. That's awesome.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't like. I know that my brother helped me certain times. I know that my ex-partner helped me unbelievably.
Yep.
But it seems really a bit of a blur, man, to be honest. I reckon when things are just like going crazy, it's hard to really know what's going on. And even when you come out and try to see it, and like I just know that I was having some seriously dark thoughts, man. Like, and like I'm definitely not there anymore, but it was getting pretty fucking heavy. It was probably like that even coming towards the end of me playing. I was like in that frame of mind. Even when I think about it and look back on it, I was probably even in that frame of mind when I was playing. Like,
and using the mask thing that we were talking about.
That wasn't working. I just training wasn't working, going to football wasn't working. I'd even make excuses of not going. Like, that's when that's not working. I can't even remember, man. There's been so many things that have.
How about now, seeing as you're on? I mean, it's always a bit of a journey, right? But like, you sound like you're in a transitional period towards the positive.
Yes.
What would you say?
I'll definitely stop drinking. Like, all the fucking chaos in my life. Like, I mean, a lot of stuff too. Like, trauma from when you're younger. What I'm realizing and I'm working on, the spiritual side of things, which I'm like very big on now. Like, I'm doing a course at the moment with 24 people from, you wouldn't even believe what walks of life, man. Like, spiritual leaders to Reiki leaders, the kinesiology, like just all because that's what I kind of really attract to now, But that's what's helping me now. The drinking and all that shit. That was a big thing.
It is the start of. It sort of spirals into so many other issues, huh?
Man, like Gab was saying about early on about, you know, being a young guy and trying to talk to a girl. Like, I mean, I couldn't do it. I didn't even know how to. I couldn't even talk to anyone to say, like, I couldn't speak to my dad and say, Dad, I don't know how to talk. I couldn't speak to my sister. I couldn't speak to a friend. I didn't know how to talk to a girl. And this was a young age, even though I was like, you know, I remember when I was in grade, got called to the principal's office because I used to chase this girl. Like, man, but this is I didn't know any other better. I was like 7 years old, chase this poor girl. As soon as the bell went, I'd chase her. She wouldn't leave the toilet. She left the toilet. I'd chase her. I got called to the principal's office and said, my parents got called in and said, you can't do that. And I'm like, man, I didn't know any. I didn't know any better. And then, like, that's kind of been my way growing up. And then when I was young enough to be able to go to a party and have a drink, man, far out.
Just let loose.
Man, like, I was like, it was so easy. I could talk, I could kiss, I could, like, you know, I could dance. I could do everything, man. And I reckon that even though I kind of was, you know, comfortable in those sort of things, I still needed that was my kind of crutch.
Yep.
And it's been my crutch, even though it wasn't a good crutch. And then, like, don't get me wrong, sometimes were fun.
Yeah, of course.
But towards the end, things were just not fun.
Yeah.
And as soon as I stopped that, man, and like, you know,
Did you go cold turkey? Did you just go boom done?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, there's a lot of help programs and stuff out there.
Yeah.
That, you know, people can go to, and you know, people think that you got to be someone that drinks.
Yeah, that's
every
the
day,
killer.
Drinks every day.
Yeah.
Could just be like a weekend thing, or
paper bag, homeless dude. He's got man. It's as soon as you have that first drink, man, it's like you know, you can't stop. Yeah,
man. I actually went with one of my close friends to an AA meeting. He had a bit of issues with drinking, and he was in a bad place, real bad place. And I was like, bro, I'm not leaving this house. We're going today. We went to this AA meeting, and everyone's telling their stories, talking. I spoke, blah, blah, blah. And then they go, okay, you can have a, you know, recess or whatever, go have some food or have a chat or whatever. So we start getting to know this guy who had an ice addiction, but then he'd been clean for like 5 years, got his life together, had a good job, all this. And my friend goes to him. It was like such a perfect setup. And my friend goes to him, yeah, but like, I'm not where you are. Yeah. Like he's off his face because just because it's alcohol, and it's legal, and you buy it over the counter. Yeah, the perception of how dangerous and how much it's wrecking your life is so skewed. Yeah, you know,
it's an age-old debate why weed is, you know, illegal. Why is alcohol legal? It's, you know, money comes into it and everything. But that's it's crazy.
It is, man. Like it is crazy, and it's like, it's and how did you go with that?
He's good now.
Yeah.
He's good now. He's good now. But like, obviously part of it is, the first is just realizing, it's an issue. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And like, you can't tell someone either, right? Yeah. No one's got, that's the thing, right? Yeah. I sort of came to the realization that like, I can't keep going on like this. I keep hurting the people that I love, even though I don't want to, but you know, you do. And I was just, I was just not reliable. I started not being honest. I was like 1/8 the person I usually am. And that's why I stopped. And now, man, far out, unbelievable.
It's actually beautiful to see how you've transitioned out of football into media and stuff. And, you know, I don't know you personally. I don't know your kids. But just seeing on social media, you seem like a great dad.
I try my best, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially your daughter, very successful. Like, I'm sure that's down to you and your son.
Shout out Bella.
That's down to her, man.
Killing it, man.
That's down to her. She does all the hard work. She wants to do it herself. But, you know, but like even when I say about my dad, how I wanted him to be proud of me. You know, my son, after this journey that I'm on, he said to me, he goes, "Dad, I'm proud of you."
Ah, that's awesome.
You know, I mean, that's big, man. It's special.
That's beautiful, man. We love to hear that. And like I said, as fans and just football lovers in Australia, we really love to see what you've been doing and how well you've gone about it, man.
Yeah,
you're a
thanks,
legend,
man.
bro. Honestly, Archie.
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. Sometimes it's hard. Like I don't know. Like when people say to like, "Oh, Archie, you're a great footballer," and it's hard to me to. I know. I can't. I don't know because I don't know. I feel like I wasn't. You know, that's those things that you think you know.
It's like, that's why I think when I hear, I can sort of see that with you when I hear other people saying things to you, and I can sort of hear I don't know. There's like you deal with it quite well, but it's like probably sometimes uncomfortable a little bit and whatever.
It's really uncomfortable.
I can hear because but even just like from my side, like you have so much wisdom in you. I don't know if you realize that, and this is why I said to my mate the other day, call Arch, because now that something goes real bad or I'm really stressing. Sometimes the last few times I've called him.
Yeah.
He's the one I've called, and it's literally he said one thing. I swear on my life, when I broke up with my ex, I don't know if I told you this, but I was like, probably the worst 5 days of my whole life. I've never been that sad ever about anything. And I just could not stop crying. And I remember I was sitting in the car about to go coach one of our sessions. And I'm like, fuck, how am I going to get to this? How am I going to coach these kids, you know? And I called you, and you said one line, literally one line, and it was like, oh, that's true. I didn't cry after. Oh, it was done.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize, bro.
Smart boy, man.
You don't even realize, bro.
Very intelligent boy. Yeah.
So it's like it's not just you've been through stuff with your football that does this for people, but also you have a wise mind, bro.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry to get all freaking.
Yeah, man, I fucking jumped that table, boy.
Rash, it's 4:40.
Yeah, okay, I got to go.
Like right now,
Yeah,
or 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Arch, we'll end on a light note, just quickly. Just quickly talk to us about that video of when you went to Spain.
Oh, bro.
Just for people that don't know what quickly happened with that.
I wanted to go to Spain when I was like a young guy. Because that football was my style of football, man.
Yeah.
Like very technical and probably not as physical and you know, that and I was wanting to go there. I said to my man, like it was my mate that was an agent at the time, or trying to get into being an agent. He wasn't at all.
Yeah.
And then, so I don't know, that just didn't happen. So when 30 years, what is it? Man, it was about 20 years later. No, not even when I finished, I was retired, and I got the opportunity to go play in Spain. But just to build a kind of a bridge from Morris and the organisation to create sort of like a pathway and to bring a bit of kind of, I don't know, what's the word?
The connection.
Exposure.
Yeah, exposure.
Exposure to that. And so, man, I thought, yeah, no worries, I'll do it. And I was playing Murray United, and just before, like, when I did my hamstring. So it only just came good when I went over. And, man, I was freaking... but the guy said, man, just go, just have fun. It's all right.
It's like, 5th division, right?
Yeah, it's not serious.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. And, man, I was having a couple of beers even just before the game for lunch, you know, just because as soon as I got there, and it was great because I took my son over there. So he came with me. We flew over together. We went to Real Madrid's the Bernabeu. We went to a training session. He had a photo with Marcelo, the Colombian.
James Rodriguez.
And Hazard. Like, had photo. Zidane was in the office. I had photo.
Wow.
Man, I was buzzing. Yeah. He was buzzing. But then, this coach was like some kind of, must have been like an ex-coach or a legend of something.
Yeah.
And man, he fucking wouldn't lay up on me, bro. I didn't know what he was saying, but he was fucking. But it apparently got a lot of exposure over in Spain, man. Yeah. Like it was like I didn't realize I was taking a piss though, because we had a couple of Spanish dudes come over, play for West United, and then one of them sort of said, "Hey, you're Thompson, Thompson." 'Cause that's what the coach used to say. And he's like, "Why doesn't he run?" Like,
but he's saying it in Spanish.
In Spanish,
and you're just standing there like,
I'm like,
I haven't seen this.
And then I had like Strati. I don't know if you know Strati. He was like an Australian coach that was over there. He was like trying to learn. I think he didn't know much Spanish, but he said, no, fuck all, because he was like trying to relay what he was saying to me, but it's like, yeah, Archie, like, but he didn't even know Spanish. So he's trying to relay Spanish to me that he didn't even understand himself. Trying to tell me, and then I'm like going, what's he want me to do? I don't know what he wants me to do. And he was just saying, he never runs. He doesn't even run. He's lazy. He doesn't know the game. I'm like, bro, I'm just fucking here.
I just want some beers in Spain.
Bro, I'll just come over here. And it went fucking gangbusters over in Spain.
It went crazy.
Yeah, it went crazy, man. So,
you got to go, Rush.
Yeah, I got to hit it.
All right. Archie, thank you so much. It's been an honour. I still can't believe that I've got the chance to talk to you, man. Awesome. Thank you for coming down.
I'm sorry if I'm all over the place, man. Like,
No.
my things are just like...
That was awesome. That was truly awesome. Rash, thank you as well.
Rash
Suited
is
and
man.
booted. Archie Thompson.
Rash is the man.
Rash is the man. He is the man. He's the
very
Lord.
much, man.
He's the Lord.
Wise boy, man.
Wise boy. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Like, comment, subscribe on everything. We'll be back soon.